some areas in Cape Town are without power this evening. The City Council says it's due to a fault on an Eskom overhead line. For more on this, let's speak to the Mayor, Jordan Hill-Lewis, who's joining us from Cape Town, I believe. Mr. Mayor, welcome to News at Prime. So what exactly caused this issue, this fault?
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. I'm in a public area. But the fault was caused by two Eskom high voltage overhead power lines going down, tripping at the same time. And that took out power to a huge section of the city, 4 of our areas. That's taken some time to restore. But it is Eskom teams are on the ground and they are working at restoring it. And do we know what caused them to trip? No, we don't know that yet. We're waiting for feedback from Eskom. But what we did do was 2 of the areas, we were able to switch over almost immediately to a city supply line. So they are restored. And the other 2 areas we're told by Eskom are busy being restored very soon. Probably within the next hour or so they should be restored.
2 areas, any indication of just how many households or how vast the area they would cover then in terms of people who are likely affected sitting in the dark tonight?
No, very big, I'm afraid. It's the four areas of the city would be hundreds of thousands of people, and 2 of them have been restored, but even the remaining 2 areas would be many tens of thousands of households. So we want them restored as quickly as possible. Eskom has told us that it's very near to being back up, and we're keeping on the case every few minutes to get an update.
Is the expectation, I wonder, from the engineers in this stage where they're still working, is the expectation that they can sort this out tonight still, or could it last perhaps for another day even?
No. The expectation is very much that it will be sorted out soon. As I've said, they've told us that it should be up in an hour or so. I really hope that is the case, that there's no further faults or trips, and that everyone should be back on in the next hour or so.
On what you were just saying now about the hope that there are no further trips, is it too soon to rule out with certainty that other areas will not be affected at all?
No, there won't be effects on other areas, but what might happen is as they try and bring those areas back up, they trip again. And so we've got to just hope that there's no further trips in those 2 areas that are still affected.
And this is not the first time, at least in recent months, where Cape Town has had to deal with a massive power outage. Could it be that we're looking at something similar that may become a recurring problem for the city?
Well, you're right, it's the second time. The first one was in December. It was also an Eskom overhead cable. We need to check, is there a problem with maintenance? Why are these cables tripping so often? I'll have those discussions and make sure that Eskom is doing the right kind of maintenance. It does raise a concern about maintenance. We know that is a concern, but at the moment we're just focused on working with Eskom to get it up and running as quickly as possible.
And work with me as well here, Mayor, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's a conversation happening in other provinces as well about how load shedding may be impacting infrastructure in this country because the power is turned on, then turned off so frequently. Do you worry about that in Cape Town, and that too perhaps may be damaging to some of your infrastructure?
Oh yes, that's a very, very valid concern and a very valid worry. I actually suspect, I'm not an electrical engineer, but I suspect that this does have something to do with load shedding. That's certainly the word that we're getting from the professionals. And that just adds another cost of load shedding to our system, is that it does start to blow other infrastructure throughout the grid when it comes back on, and that's part of the maintenance conversation as well.
Jordan Hill-Lewis, Mayor of the City of Cape Town, we'll leave you to get back to it and get an update from you as soon as things have improved there.